times like this, you deserve to smile, to get inspired, and learn new lessons in life. And this video is perfect for you. Welcome back to our channel. This is Rico and I'm delighted that you are watching this because today I'm going to share to you inspirational videos that will empower you to keep shining and make a difference in life. By the way, shout out to our dear Principal, Dr. Alicia Arlim, na napaka-hands-on sa lahat ng concerns pagdating sa school. And of course, to Ma'am Lilibet R. Red of Unbound. And to our retiring head teacher, Ma'am Marlene Santayana. Mga taong naalala ko sa mga kwentong matutunghayan nyo ngayon dahil sa kanilang kabaitan na pinapakita sa iba kahit sila ay nasa matataas na posisyon. And of course, to Noel Ryan Cruzada, my former classmate na kinahuhumalingan ng bayan dahil sa pagiging artista
sa buhay ni Farah.
And to Marco Rosel, the loyal hero sa buhay ni Carla. Thank you so much guys for your support. At ngayon, ang mga kwentong matutunghayan nyo ay hindi sa akin, kundi shared stories na sobra akong natuwa sa lessons na for sure ay may enjoy nyo rin. Kaya kung napansin mong minsan ikaw ay puro reklamo, laging may doubt sa isang taong minamahal mo, at madalas nakakalimutan ng magagandang aral sa buhay, panoorin mo to.
Last week, I was having breakfast at Chick-fil-A. As I was sitting in my truck eating, I noticed a homeless guy sitting on the curb behind the building with his dog. He was holding a sign asking for money or food donations to help him feed himself and his dog. He just looked like a man down on his luck. I observed him the entire time as I ate my breakfast. He mostly just sat there scratching his mutt and holding the sign, while people drove past, ignoring him. When I finished my breakfast, I decided to make another run through the drive-thru and ordered a large chicken biscuit combo. As I was leaving, I pulled up alongside him and handed him the bag of breakfast and a small bag of dog food I had in my truck for when I bring my dog to work. The bag of Chick-fil-A put a huge smile on his face, but when I handed him the bag of dog food, the guy literally lost it and started bawling right there on the side of my truck. After regaining his composure, he exclaimed that it had been so long since somebody had treated him like a human being. I asked him if he would be willing to work hard for a decent day's pay. And he immediately straightened up and exclaimed that he could be the hardest worker I have ever seen. I gave him my business card and a $5 and told him to meet me at that spot the next morning, and I would put him to work. The next day, I stopped in, and sure enough, he was waiting there for me. I took him and his dog to the job site. He wasn't kidding around about being a hard worker. This guy carried wood around and fetched tools out of my truck for me all day long without complaining once. And his dog just shadowed him the entire time. During the day, I learned about how he had lost his wife in a car accident, had his home that he had lived in for 35 years repossessed by the bank. He had no children or family, was staying at a KOA campground, and had a bunch of his life possessions stolen. He'd been spit on by strangers while begging for money, and had all but given up on the human race as a whole. At the end of the day, I took him to my bank and withdrew his pay, which amounted to $80. The look in his face was well worth it. My random act of kindness seemed to put a spark back in his eye, and I continued to pick him up for the rest of the week in the same spot, paying him the same at the end of each day. Yesterday, when I dropped him off, he asked me to take him to a different spot near the KOA. He explained with the money I paid him, he was going to be able to afford camping provisions for the next couple of months, and told me how much it meant to him and his dog to not have to sleep outside on the cold ground. When I left him last night, he looked like a different person than the man I saw hanging his head in shame behind the Chick-fil-A. He promised me he would be there for me next week if I needed him, and although my job site is going to be on the other side of town next week, I have already decided to continue going out of my way to pick him up and put him to work. Feels good, man. and asked the woman, "How much do I owe you?" She replied, "You don't owe me anything. My mother taught me never to accept payment in return for kindness." The boy said, "Then I thank you from the bottom of my heart." As the boy walked away, he felt stronger physically, but also had stronger faith in God. Years later, the woman who gave him the milk became extremely ill. The local doctors were puzzled by her condition, so they sent her to a big city. A specialist called Dr. Johnson was called for a consultation about her health. As he heard the name of the town that she came from, he walked to her room to see the woman. He immediately recognized her face. Then he went back to the consultation room, feeling committed to save the woman's life. He devoted most of his time to her case. After a long and difficult struggle, the battle with the disease was over. Dr. Johnson asked the office to give him the final bill for approval. It was $28,350. He looked at it, then wrote something on the edge and sent it to the woman's room. She was mortified about it because she knew she would have to spend the rest of her life to pay for it. Once she got the courage to open it, her attention was caught by something written on the side. It read, "Paid in full with 1 glass of milk, Dr. Ben Johnson." Dr. Ben Johnson was a successful doctor, but he never forgot the feeling that glass of milk provided for him when he needed it most. Never stop doing good things for others. Your kindness will multiply before it returns back to you. Give it to others, and you will have it given back to you. A good deed will circulate before it returns back to your lap. Two traveling angels stopped to spend the night in the home of a wealthy family. The family was rude and refused to let the angels stay in the mansion's guest room. Instead, the angels were given a small space in the cold basement. As they made their bed on the hard floor, the older angel saw a hole in the wall and repaired it. When the younger angel asked why, the older angel replied, "Things aren't always what they seem." The next night, the pair came to rest at the house of a very poor but very hospitable farmer and his wife. After sharing what little food they had, the couple let the angels sleep in their bed, where they could have a good night's rest. When the sun came up the next morning, the angels found the farmer and his wife in tears. Their only cow, whose milk had been their sole income, lay dead in the field. The younger angel was infuriated and asked the older angel, "How could you let this happen? The first man had everything, yet you helped him," she accused. The second family had little, but was willing to share everything, and you let the cow die. "Things aren't always what they seem," the older angel replied. When we stayed in the basement of the mansion, I noticed there was gold stored in that hole in the wall. Since the owner was so obsessed with greed and unwilling to share his good fortune, I sealed the wall so he couldn't find it. The last night, as we slept in the farmer's bed, the angel of death came for his wife. I gave him the cow instead. Things aren't always what they seem. Sometimes that is exactly what happens when things don't turn out the way they should. If you have faith, you just need to trust that every outcome is always to your advantage. You might not know it until sometime later. Should you find it hard to get to sleep tonight, remember the homeless family who had no bed to lie in. Should you find yourself stuck in traffic, don't despair. There are people in this world for whom driving is an unheard of privilege. Should you have a bad day at work, think of the man who has been out of work for many months, struggling to feed his family. Should you notice a new gray hair in the mirror, think of the cancer patient in chemo who wishes she had hair to examine. Should you find yourself at a loss and pondering what is life all about, asking, "What is my purpose?" be thankful. There are those who didn't live long enough to get that opportunity. A carpenter went home after shutting down his workshop. While he was gone, a poisonous snake entered his workshop. The snake was hungry and hoped to find its supper lurking somewhere within. It slithered from one end to the other. Finally bumped into an axe and got very slightly injured. In anger and revenge, the snake bit the axe with full force. What could a bite do to a metallic axe? Instead, the snake's mouth started bleeding. Out of fury and arrogance, the snake tried its best to strangle and kill the object that was causing it pain by wrapping itself around the axe. The next day, when the carpenter opened the workshop, he found a dead snake wrapped around the axe blade. The snake didn't die because of someone else's fault, but faced these consequences merely because of its own anger and wrath. Sometimes, when angry, we try to cause harm to others. But as time passes, we realize that we have caused more harm to ourselves. It's not necessary that we react to everything. Step back and ask yourself if the matter is really worth responding to. For every minute that you are angry, you lose 60 seconds of happiness. Anger is your biggest enemy. Control it. Control your anger because it's just one letter away from danger. Where there is anger, there is always pain underneath. Anger doesn't solve anything. It builds nothing, but it can destroy everything.
Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you have something to say, hesitate to comment below. Again, this is Rico Carinan, who believes that you can shine and make a difference in life no matter how young, old, or simple you are. Don't forget to like and subscribe.